Okay, welcome to episode 2 of Rebuilding Madness Retaliation 2. Yesterday we left off with finishing on movement. So for today, I want to create a main menu, have a button that transitions to gameplay, starts in exploration mode. Then we'll have 2 rooms, you can walk back and forth between them. Then at some point, we're going to add combat to the second room. Then in combat we should be able to shoot and kill the enemy that's there, and then it will transition back to exploration mode. So in the game we already have this. New game, okay, enters into gameplay. Now the gameplay currently starts in combat mode. You do not want that. So in our game state handler we're gonna have to distinguish between combat mode and exploration mode. We'll do that. We'll call it is in combat equals false. Right? Let's go back to our IDE. All right. Yeah. Not used yet. We're going to take these enemies, hide them for now. Okay? Then let's take our pawns and place them where they would be if we were in exploration mode. Okay. So in gameplay, they would look like that. Alright. Good for now. We start in combat mode. Now, we should have our room. Let's create empty. Call this room 0. And then for a visual element, let's just add a big cube in the background. Let's give it rotate back. All right. Now that we know, now this marks that we're in room 1. I'm going to create a subfolder in prefabs. Call this rooms. Room 0. Okay. Doesn't matter that it has this script right now. So we're going to be managing rooms, which means we need a room handler. I'm going to plug this in system. Room handler. All right. It's gonna need a array of rooms. Oh, we haven't even created a room object. Does that matter? Does it have to be a room object? It probably does, because the room will have data associated with it. Let's create that. Let's create a room object. Gonna be an error here. Let's delete this for now. Okay, in a room. All right. Erase the built-ins. Room handler needs to have a serializable field, which is an array of rooms. Room prefab. Right? And then we want public void enter room. So when we enter room, we create a new room object is equal to an instance or instantiated room. Room prefabs 0. You know what? Let's put integer here. Room index. Index. Okay, that way, this enter room is called make a new one. Public void new game. Are we overcomplicating things early? I think we are. All right. So let's just do a reference here to room handler, then say room handler, enter room. And it's always going to be the first room. It looks good. All right. So let's play. New game. Enter room. No instance of object. All right. So first we need a room prefab here. Room does not have the script yet. We don't need this glider. All right. So our room handler needs a room prefab. Load in room 0. Then for the game state handler, let's apply this room handler. Start. All right. So here, when we see this cube, it means that we have successfully loaded the room. Now let's create a door. Let's create, now it doesn't need to be an empty. Could be cube. Seems to be some people talking outside. Sorry about that. All right, let's call this door. Gonna have a box collider. We'll just scale it on the Y to maybe 3. And then it's gonna be thin on the X. And then wider on the Z. Make that door big. All right, so when we click this, do on click, it should access the room handler. But see, now when we click this, all right, we'll figure this out later, but clickable object's important. Let's go back to clickable object, make sure it logs. All right. Let's test this. If I click the door is clicked. So this prefab, I'm gonna go here in our room 0. Got it. Okay, we don't really see the stage, so let's look at it in context. Drop a room 0 here. I'm gonna delete this door. Go in here. Oh, I can barely see that. Let us remove or hide right now. All right, great. It's probably hard to see for you guys, but as long as I could see it, it's fine. So X position to isometric top. So put on 2.5. Move it over here. Move that over there. This is door left, door right. Right. So door left, when you click it, does something. Door right, when you click it, does something. The only thing it can reference here is the room. So when you click this, does that make sense? Instead of that, let's just make a door script. Go into the prefab, give it the door script. Door has an integer goes to room index, and then let's just default it at 1 for now. Then public void go to room. Make it even simpler. Use door. When you use the door, you have to access room handler. To do that, we're going to have to make a public static room handler reference to this instance. Then on awake instance is equal to this. Okay, we're only ever going to have one room handler, so it's singleton now. When we use the door, we say, hey room handler, you should do something. What if we make this static? If we make that static, I please. All right, so let's look at game state handler. It might be, here we go. Okay. When you use door, room handler dot enter room go to room index. So the door can just be a subtype of clickable object. Yes. So, okay, I'm gonna go back to the IDE. So this door, this no longer needs this. You onclick, it references itself. It uses the door script, says use door. Okay. So let's make a new room prefab. Call this room 1. All right, and it's going, instead of a cube, make it very obvious, it's gonna have big capsule in the background. That's room 0, room 1, great. Adjust it. Want it to be, all right, so let's reactivate our world plane. Go over to room 0, 1. All right, let's fix these doors. Door left goes to room index 1, door right goes to room index 1. Go to room 1, door left goes to room index 0, door right goes to room index 0. Excellent. Okay. Let's go back to our room handler. Our room handler has room prefabs, that's fine. We need to keep track of our current room. If the current room instance.current_room is not equal to null, then let's destroy it. Destroy that game object, right? Then our new room will be set to our current room. It's a static method, so we use it. All right. Instance current room, instantiate, okay. Destroy the old room, make the new room. Okay, so our script is resolved. Let's look at our inspector. We have room 0 and room 1. All right, let's press play. A little bigger. So let's press new game. Okay, we are in room 0. Press this. We are now in room 1. Click this, room 0, room 1. Room 0, room 1. Excellent. Let us add a debug here. That means on our to-do list, we have finished up to here. Finished main menu to gameplay. That goes into exploration mode and to rooms. Okay, so now we need to enter a room and start combat. So, room needs to know if there is combat in it. All right, so how do we do this? Boolean has combat equals, by default we'll do it false. Good. Then when you enter the room, you need to tell the game state you are in combat. Both the room handler and the game state handler are globals, so they should just have references, is what I feel. So I'm going to make, what does this mean? All right, let's clean this up. Put that down here. Serialized field, game state handler, game state handler. When you enter a room, game state handler dot start combat. Then let's make public void start combat. Just debug this. Log starting combat. All right. Let's go to the game state handler. Right. The room handler needs a reference to the game state handler. Okay. Then we need to go to room 1 and say that it has combat. Okay, there we go. If current room has combat, you can't refer to it because it is not public. Give that first. Has combat. Then do this. So we need to check if our code was done correctly. So if it was done correctly, press new game. When we click this, we enter room 1. When we enter room 1, it starts combat in the log. All right, starting combat. Then when we enter room 0, it does not. Excellent. All right, next thing that we do is make sure that our players cannot move around while we are in exploration mode. That means when we click a tile, something happens, right? In the selection handler. That means selection handler needs to know if the game state is in combat or not. Let's look at game state handler. We should make this public. So selection handler, if you select a tile, if the game state is in combat, sorry, it's not in combat, false, then don't do anything. Okay? So let's click this character, this player Pontu. Try to click a tile. All right. We have an issue here because the selection handler does not have a reference to the game state. Try it again. Click the player, tile, no movement. All right. Now, in the game state handler, when we start combat, we should flag this as is in combat equals true. let's play. New game. Go here, cannot move. Go to room 1. We're in combat now. Now we can move. Great. Now, when we move back to a room that does not have combat, we should make sure that combat is ended. Is in combat is false. Okay. Else game state handler end combat. Okay, it's gonna look a little wonky, but new game. Alright. Can't move. Enter room. Can move. Move you back. Exit a room. So there's no combat here. Alright. Cool. Okay. When we end combat, we want to put our players in specific positions. So this needs to position team in exploration formation. Okay? So it needs a reference to those pawns. These are pawns. Player pawns. Our player pawn 0 transform position equals, let's say, new vector 3. Let's do it this way. Vector 3 exploration make a header here. Call it pawns, player pawns. Okay. Right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Save that. Go back to our game state handler. Okay, we have our player pawns. 0, 1, 2, 3. Then our exploration positions should have 4 of them. So this one is at 4, 3. Okay. 4x, 3z. Alright, I get the pattern. So this is 5x, 2z, 7x, 2z, 3z, and this is going to be 8. Right? Alright. Right. Okay. New game. Go into this room. Move our guys around. Alright. Oop. Alright. Excellent. Question is, do we want vector 3s or just transforms? Do we just want like a visual representation? I think we could do that. I think let's make a bunch of cubes. This is exploration position 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna copy. Let's just paste these component values. Alright, so these are our exploration positions. So instead of vector 3s, let's do a transform. So transform dot position stoop this. Come on. And the reason we're doing this is so that we can also set rotations. Okay. I think that's pretty straightforward. Go to our game state handler. That's exploration. Position 0, 1, 2, 3. Over here, hide these meshes and remove these colliders. We don't need them. Okay, so let's do the same test. Going to room 1, move some characters. Go to room 0, they should snap back to their original position. Alright, I'm going to create a new game object. I'm going to call it positions. Inside it, I'm going to create another exploration. Up these in there. Then I'm going to make combat left. Okay. These are also going to be cubes. Then put them in effective spots. You go there, and there. So when you enter the combat from the left, this is the starting position. Okay? Good. Combat position 0. Rename all of you. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's just do left for now. Combat left position. Start combat. Okay. When you start combat, should do this. Team in combat formation. Then we use this. All right. Also make sure all of these are rated 90. Check this. Blue arrow facing that way. That's correct. Okay. Then in our game state handler, collapse these combat left positions. Lock this, check these, drop them in. The order as needed. Nope, they're in the correct order. Then select all these, hide these mesh renderers, remove the box colliders. Alright, so when we start combat, they should be in position. Hit play, make this bigger. They're in combat, out of combat, in combat, out of combat. Okay, excellent. Now, doors should not work while you're in combat. Let's look at our door. It refers, when you click it, it says enter room, the room handler. All right, room handler, enter room. This should not even work if game state handler. Why is that not working? Oh, because it's an instance. If instance.GameStateHandler is in combat. Let's say You know what? Let's make it instructive. Defeat all enemies. Leave the room. Return. That way, if you're in combat, none of this happens. Alright. So what's gonna happen when we play this is we enter room 1 and we get stuck there. Click, enter room 1. Can't click that door. Alright, cool. Game state handler. Let's do... So we're gonna have a pool of enemy pawns. Okay. Pawn. Enemy pawns. Our first enemy pawn. When we start combat, let's put an enemy pawn, make it active, game object. Come on. Enemy pawn 0. You're going to be set to active. True. Before that, enemy pawns 0. We're gonna put you give you a position. Let's put you on the 6. That's on the right side. Let's put you 1, 2, 3, third row. That means 3Z. All right. So let's create a new empty. We'll call this enemies. Let's do something similar for player pawns. Enemy pawns. And put you guys here. Alright. Enemy pawns are over here. Let's lock this. Do this selection. Drop you in. Make sure the numbering is correct. 0, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Alright. So what this should do is, when I press play, new game, enter this room, there's an enemy pawn right here. For kicks, let's do pawn body enemy. And let's just make sure that, unlock this, make you dark red. Okay? And these enemy pawns, hide you, make you active, switch to this mode. Then I'm gonna take pawn body enemy, slap it on these. What? I want some contrast. Let's make it bright red. Okay. Okay. Back. Save this, play this, make sure. Alright. Very clear that this guy is the enemy. We already have our ability for our pawn. So we select pawn 0, pawn 0. Click this guy. It's targeted. Shoot. Alright. So when we shoot an enemy, something has to happen. So that will be decided on our pawn. Try action. So let's say we just have gun damage is equal to 1. Okay. Then let's have a function shoot gun. Gun. Okay. You know what? We don't need gun damage yet. That's for future things. Let's just say shoot gun. Target dot get component pawn. You know what? We're getting these components, but is it necessary? What if you just say that the target is a type of pawn? And then when we try something, this is a type of pawn. Okay? So the target should die. Every pawn should have a function that says dies. Okay, this is gonna mess up some other files. See soon. My action has one reference in selection handler. Okay, select player pawn. This should be a pawn. Sure. Should also be a pawn. Should be a pawn. That should all be correct. All right. I think the code, oops. I think the code here is correct. I think it'll mess up some things inside the IDE. Let's double check. All right. This is our player. All right. See how it messed up the on-click. So these should say select player pawns. You select yourself. You select yourself. You select yourself. You select yourself. These enemies, when you click them, should select enemy pawn. Like so. Hold on. 0. Select 0. 1 selects 1. 2 selects 2. 3 selects 3. Double check. 0. 1. 2. 3. Enemy pawn 0. 1. 2. 3. Some thunder today. Alright. Clicking the spawn. Selected. 3 is selected. 1 selected. 0 selected. Pop over here. Select 0. Click that. Targets the enemy. Click it again. Enemy dies. We did not get a shoot confirmation. Why not? So, pawn. Aha. Now, when an enemy dies, it should send a message to the game state handler. That means I'm gonna make this an instance. Has to be. Public static. I'm not the happiest with instances. Get private set. But right now, we're trying to build this like quickly, not efficiently. So, when we awake, instance is set to this. Right? So when you're a pawn, you die. Then game state handler should do something. Should have public static void enemy died. So we'll say instance check if combat ended. Let's implement this function for method. All right. Okay. For each E in enemy pawns, if E is active, turn. There is still a living enemy. If it gets through this check, then we say all enemies dead. And then we end combat. Okay. So game state handler. Not even enemy died. Pawn died. Yeah, that way it checks. We can code it later to check both player characters and enemy characters. So game state handler dot pawn died. Okay, so go into this room, select, okay, clicking this enemy, we need to select a player pawn first. Let's select the player pawn, you, shoot this guy, no, that's target, it dies. So we got the debug log that it died. Oh, I see where problem lies. Game object.set active false. There you go. Because the game state handler is checking if that game object is active or not. So by forgetting to set it to inactive, it did not actually die, even though the console said so. We have player pawn 1, target, shoot. All right, it ended combat. Now we should be able to leave. Can't leave. All right. Let's save that. Go over to our to-do list. Okay, so we were able to finish all these. We enter a room, start combat, shoot and kill an enemy, finish a combat, and return to exploration. Now, obviously, at this point, we don't have a lot of graphics to show that we are doing the things that we're doing. Everything is just clicking and looking at the console log. But I feel it's important to get the systems in order before we start doing graphics. I think maybe by episode 4 or 5, we should get into Blender, start doing some graphics, maybe start doing some visual effects. But for our next episode, the agenda is going to be a little more exciting. We're going to do some equipment, right? Oh, had a little more power issues there, but it's back on now, and time for me to say goodbye. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. We're going to keep on keeping on. All right, see you next time.